Have you ever met somebody with so much military experience?
Not till this guy.
Fighting experience, I guess, really, more than military.
Fighting experience. That's exactly right.
Hey, everybody, this is Russ from Family Tree Nuts, and I'm out front of the gate, or we're at front of the gates of Fort Boonesborough here in Fort Boonesborough, Kentucky. And I'm with a special guest. You want to tell them who you are?
I'm Sue Baber Castle, and I'm my family genealogist.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. And why are we here at Fort Boonesborough?
Well, we're here to talk about one of my ancestors who came through the fort. We don't have documentation that he actually lived here, but we do know he was here. He was actually here. His name was James Norton. He was from Virginia. He was born about 1761.
Okay.
In his pension records, he gives different years, and there's different, so they're not sure exactly, but they put him somewhere around 1760, 61.
1760, 61. This is your fourth great-great-great-great-great-grandfather.
Great-grandfather, that's right.
Awesome, awesome. Born in Virginia, and he was a pacifist, I guess, right?
Yeah.
So.
Well, no. I believe he believed in joining in and doing his part.
Yep.
Because he definitely spent some time in fighting in several skirmishes with the Revolutionary War.
Yeah, I think he enlisted, or he did 4 tours. Enlisted 4 times?
4 actual tours, that's exactly right. And then several of the Indian Wars.
Yep.
He was a part of.
But one time he was a substitute, I think, wasn't he?
He was for John Shannon. He was a substitute, which meant John Shannon, he went in his place, and they provided him with the clothing and his rations, his food, and his supplies that he needed.
Awesome. So, and he was at Yorktown, I guess, at what we think is the last battle of the Revolution.
At the time, they did see the surrender of Cornwallis, and they, I'm sure, were hopeful that that was it. That peaceful times were.
Let's go to Kentucky.
Yeah, let's travel to Kentucky and find some land, because there might be some land out there that you know actually the government couldn't pay us too well, so they offered land. And so a lot of them young boys hightailed it over to the...
In early 1782, I think they came here, and
that's correct.
Where he found out that the war wasn't over here in Kentucky. So
no, things move slowly in Kentucky.
I think they said Mark Twain said that everything happens 20 years later in Kentucky. But
exactly.
So he befriended Israel Boone, who was about his age.
That's right. They I don't know exactly the whole story, but he seemed to be good friends with the whole Boone family.
Sure.
Knew Daniel Boone, actually served under Daniel Boone in some of the tours of duty, as well as Simon Kenton.
And the militia there at Bryan Station, I think you said he was there, and then they went to he went to Blue Licks with him.
Exactly. He would have been here at the fort, we believe, when Bryan Station was attacked. Then they went on to Bryan Station and then headed on into Blue Licks, where the actual last battle of the Revolutionary War occurred.
So he's there for the very end, and I think he fought right next to a pretty famous guy.
He did. He was right next to Daniel Boone, and happened to be standing right next to, fighting with Daniel Boone, when he noticed that Israel was killed.
Oh.
Some documentation say that maybe he was tomahawked. What we do know, passing down from family history, seems to be James going, "My God, Daniel, it's Israel." So he would have seen Israel get killed while he was standing right next to
Wow, my God, Daniel, it's Israel.
It's Israel.
That's a famous quote that's been passed down to your family, your 4th great-grandfather.
And yes, to my family, but other documentation got passed down through other cousins.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's an awesome story and an awesome line. And so after that, the Battle of Blue Licks, his fighting days were over, right?
No.
Okay.
No, he apparently believed in the cause, believed in standing up for himself. And
stayed in the militia.
Stayed in the militia. He was actually a Minuteman in the militia, and if you know anything about them, they had to be ready in under an hour to go wherever they were needed. Yeah,
I think he did a tour with Colonel Logan fighting against the Cherokees down in Tennessee.
That's correct.
He did a tour with General St. Clair fighting against the Miami in Ohio.
That's right.
And he also did a tour under Simon Kenton, one of my heroes, fighting the Shawnee
around the Sauter River.
The Sauter River. That's where I grew up, in that area right there.
Around Portsmouth,
but a little north of there.
A little north of Portsmouth. Okay.
Don't tell anybody.
I'm sorry.
But so anyway, he fought in the Indian Wars. We saw where he was stationed outside of Frankfort. in modern-day Frankfort. He was stationed outside of modern-day Scott County. So all the way through the 1780s, he stayed with the militia. And I think, but you said he went back to Virginia, though, didn't he?
He did. He would have gone back to Virginia because his family was still there. He had had several of his brothers come with him, but then he went back to Virginia. He knew the Bobby family real well, and he married Jean Bobby, and they eventually ended up back here.
I think it was 1790.
Family. That's about 1790, 91 that they would have married.
Okay.
And I think he became a bit more peaceful after his marriage.
Yeah, they said the last Indian attack, I think, in Kentucky was 1792, so there wasn't anybody to fight left, I guess.
I guess he had fought them all. That's right.
That's right. So eventually, by I guess 1800, he's living in Greenup County.
Greenup County,
you know, where he raised his family and stuff, right where around Lawrence counties they come together right there.
That's correct. A lot of documentation, land records. That's where he would have filed his pension papers.
Sure.
In Lawrence County.
Because he lived to be an old man. I mean, how long? It was in his 90s, I think.
He was about 96.
96.
He lived a good long life.
So he died in 1857, they say.
That's
but
correct.
I think it was late 1820s, 1830s. I can't remember the exact year. They gave the Revolutionary War pensions.
Correct.
And I think you said he just waited for his check to come in the mail, right?
No. No, he would have been in his 70s, and another family story that got passed down was the fact that he would have walked from his home in Lawrence County, Kentucky, into Virginia to get his pension check at least once a year, and then walk back home.
Walked all the way to Virginia to give me that check.
Give me that money.
Kind of thing like
you
that.
Owe me.
Right, in his 70s, you know, kind of thing. And people are.
Maybe that's why he lived to be 96. Walking's good for you.
That's right. That's a great story, you know. So, but eventually he didn't have to do that again in Lawrenceburg.
That's correct. Eventually
pension,
they set up an office in Lawrence County, and he didn't have to make that walk.
Well, what a man! What a man! I mean, you know, all this fighting that he had in there, and I mean, if there's anybody that's a patriot, it's obviously James Norton, you know, kind of thing.
Absolutely. But, he lived an amazing life and a good long life. He had a daughter, Melinda, that married Jonathan Baber, and he had an uncle and his dad that would have come from Virginia also, right around that area of Virginia, Fluvanna County. Yeah. And they all kind of traveled together.
And you're a Baber, so
I'm a Baber,
there's the connection.
There's my direct lineage that comes down through Jonathan. I'm actually, James would be my fourth great-grandfather on one part of my family tree, and then it kind of forks a little bit, and he's my fifth great-grandfather on another side.
Hey, it's
but
Kentucky.
I'm a Kentuckian.
It's Kentucky, right? So
I'm a Kentuckian.
No, that's very normal.
Yeah,
very common.
Don't need to explain more.
But what's it like to have an ancestor like that? To know about that ancestor? What is that? Does that do anything for you? Does it excite you?
Yeah, if you love history anyway. But it's just amazing to know that that would have been their life to fight, to live, to just exist, and to know that he was able to survive all of that. Perseverance.
Yeah.
I think he would have been an amazing man if I ever could have sat down and talked to him. I think the stories he could tell.
Sure, absolutely. And what's really neat about it is now you have documented this ancestor in your own words. And do you think that's important that your descendants can see these videos?
Absolutely, because growing up, we have a huge piece of paper that's rolled up that we would have had a cousin, second or third cousin, that wrote it all down.
Yep.
And we didn't go back further than, we just knew Melinda had a dad, Norton, but we didn't know anything about him. And it didn't go back further than that. And we've been able to piece all of that together. And that's who we found by piecing all the stories together.
And I noticed that a lot of times your relatives will say, hey, send me something. I know you do our tree. You know, I got a cousin that does our tree, you know, and send me something. You know, what do you want me to send you? Now you can send them the link to the video to hear about the words about their ancestor, James Norton, from your own words. So
that's correct.
I think that's awesome. Is there anything else you'd like to say while we're here?
Nope, we're good.
All right, good. So here we are in Madison County, Kentucky, at the gates of the replica of Fort Boonesborough, an area that Sue's fourth great-grandfather, James Norton, passed through in all of his adventures. But hey, remember, family tree nuts. Let our nuts find the nuts in your family tree.